Old Time Rock and Roll by Bob Seger. Should sound something like this. Now you will notice I've got a capo on there. This is the original key, capo fret 2, otherwise you got some really big stretches. But what we've done for an introduction beginner song is we've simplified it, changing it from the key of F sharp to the key of A. So we take the capo off, and you'll notice that it's going to sound slightly different now, but it still captures the same sound of. It still sounds like all-time rock and roll. So make sure you've got your tab in front of you. We're looking at the basic guitar riffs, which is in a brown tab, and let's get going to see what we're doing with our fretting hand. As we mentioned in the beginning, original key. You can see the finger 1 and 3 moving, and you can see the capos back. As we said, we're taking the capo off. If you don't have one of these, don't worry about that. I'll explain it in class if you get stuck. And we're going to play ours, as we mentioned, like this. Now, we're going to start with finger 1 in fret number 2 on the 4th string, 1, 2, 3, 4 from the bottom. And you're only going to strum strings 5 and 4, just those 2 strings at the same time. So if you're looking at your picking hand, you'll see my pick. I'm using a pick for this one. I'm playing string 5 and 4 at the same time. I've got my palm resting slightly lightly on the saddles. They call these saddles. If you're playing an acoustic, you've got a white bridge over there, and I'm resting my palm on there so the string is slightly muffled, and I'm strumming downstrokes the whole way through string 5 and 4 at the same time. Nice and easy strokes like that. Okay, we got that. Let's go back to see what our fretting hand is doing. As mentioned, finger 1, fret 2, string 4, and we're going to use your ring finger number 3, 1, 2, 3, pinky's not being used, and watch what's happening slow motion. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and that's the rhythm. And to break it down slowly is he's strumming the 2 twice, once, twice, putting the ring finger onto the same string fret 4. So basically your ring finger is overriding the first finger, but you don't take finger 1 off, he stays there. And you're going to strum the same 2 strings, which should sound like that. So it's 2 2s, 2 4s, and you simply repeat it twice for 1 bar. And if you look at your PDF, it says A riff 1, and you'll see 2 2 4 4, 2 2 4 4, and you've got all those zeros underneath. Now you simply played it through twice for your first line. When you go to the next line, I'll sit and listen to them by myself. You'll notice that all that really changes when you go from the A riff to the D riff is you're moving 1 string down. And that now goes for the same for your picking hand. In other words, I started at string 5 and 4. And when I move to the next chord, I go from those 2 to those 2. That's my D riff. Nice and easy. So if your one hand comes down a string, your other hand comes down a string 2. Now if you really wanted to capture old time rock and roll a bit more accurately, you'd have to play your E over here. But as you can see, that's quite an insane big stretch. Fret 2, fret 4, pinky all the way to fret 6. So if you're still new to guitar, this is not really the stretch you want to go for. So we're going to replace this method of playing E or E riff to up an octave or down an octave in pitch, upper strings. Okay, so it's going to sound like this. And again, it's the same thing that you've done before for the A, which started there. D went down a string. For E, you're simply going to the 2nd string from the top, or from the 5th string from the bottom, more accurately. And again, your picking hand is going to change strings. So if I had to walk us through that now, left and right hand together, I'm hoping you'll be able to see both left and right hands now as they change strings together. I'm starting here. When I move down to the D, everything comes down. You can see both left and right hands are moving. And then you go to the top for the E, 6 and 5, and then back down to the A again. Simple as that. Let's take it through together, slow motion. Remember, we play through each bar twice. Starting on A. 1, 2, 3, 4, and... Now the little pause with is a sort of turnaround that you should hear when you listen to the original. Remember, the original has got the capo. You'd have to play this big stretch chords. So we've simplified this. So for the purists, this is not in the original key, but it's going to sound really, really cool. Now next to that, there's a solo guitar riffs in blue, which sounds something like this. Now it's a typical sort of rock and roll riff that I thought I'd include, not because it's part of the song, but because it's relevant to this style of playing. So you can hear nicely it goes. It sounds really sweet. Now I thought I'd just include this because A, it sounds cool, and B, it's a nice finger exercise and you can use it for any rock and roll song within reason. Let's focus on the second half of the video. You got everything you need for the first part of old time rock and roll. This is something a little bit extra, as we said, not part of the song, but it will sound cool if you put it with the song. So let's focus onto the fretting hand. Now when you've done the whole thing, it's going to sound like this. And that's got the same sound as basically your same sound, same chords are implied. And here's a turnaround. And now for your riff. Okay, we're starting finger 1, fret number 5 on the bottom 2 strings. And I'm playing strings 1 and 2 twice in a row. That gives you the double 5 under solo guitar riffs, A riff 1. After that you go to the 3rd string with your ring finger, number 3, 7, 5 and 6. Those are your fret numbers, 7, 5, 6, all on the same string. So it's going to be combined. And then the last note, 7, goes into the 4th string on the 7th fret. So slow motion, different angle. And you can play a bit with the timing depending if it's a swing rock and roll or a straight rock and roll. I'll explain those terminologies at a later stage. We're just having some fun right now. And when you go to the D riff, remember when we played the first part and we went from here? We changed strings, right? With this one over here, we're not going to change strings, we're going to change frets. So you move everything you've done here, all those little movements, all the way to fret 10. You do it there. When you get to the E, you move all the way to 12. Then you move back to the A. So it's a nice exercise in finger accuracy for jumping to and fro different frets, and the whole way through it's going to sound like this if you want to play through with me. Okay, it's going to get both hands into view quick. As mentioned, just imagine the basic, imagine that in the background. Keep that in your head. There's your E. Memorize that. And memorize that while I'm playing this. 1, 2, 3, 4, and... And you've got a typical sort of rock and roll style riff, which is cool fun to play with. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you got some nice exercises out of the whole thing. Later we can go in rock and roll into blues. We can look at different swing rhythms. This is a swing, just by the way. And the straight rhythm is. But we'll get into that another day. Otherwise, hope you enjoyed the song. Have an excellent week. Take care. Chat soon. Bye.